Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Gaurang Dhawanlal and with me is Anita Anand with the evening news. The headlines. Country crosses landmark administering 150 crore COVID vaccine doses. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds historic milestone. Second campus of Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute inaugurated by Prime Minister in Kolkata. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviews performance of public sector banks and their readiness to tackle Omicron-induced disruptions. Government makes 7-day home quarantine mandatory for all international arrivals into the country. Centre establishes help desks and control rooms to ensure delivery of goods and essential commodities. Supreme Court orders securing of travel records related to Prime Minister's recent visit to Punjab. FIR registered by Punjab Police against unidentified persons. Apex Court allows commencement of postgraduate medical counselling for current academic year under existing reservation criteria. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh flags in India's first multi-dimensional adventure sports expedition conducted in France. As the number of COVID-19 cases are rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated too. As the new Omicron variant of coronavirus is causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact the national helpline numbers 011-239-78046 and 1075. And now, the news in detail. India today scripted history by crossing the landmark of 150 crore COVID vaccination doses. This remarkable feat was achieved in less than a year. The national COVID vaccination drive started on the 16th of January last year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the country for achieving this milestone. He said India has achieved this historic feat in the first week of the first month of the year itself. Mr. Modi was speaking after inaugurating the second campus of the Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute, CNCI, in Kolkata through video conferencing today. The Prime Minister said as cases are rising due to the Omicron variant, this shield of 150 crore vaccine doses becomes all the more important.
भारत 150 करोड़ 1.5 बिलियन वैक्सीन डोजेज का ऐतिहासिक मुकाम हासिल कर रहा है। 150 करोड़ वैक्सीन डोज वो भी 1 साल से कम समय में। ये आंकड़ों के हिसाब से बहुत बड़ी संख्या है। भारत के लिए ये एक नई इच्छा शक्ति का प्रतीक है जो असंभव को संभव करने के लिए कुछ भी कर गुजरने का हौसला रखती है। भारत के लिए ये प्रतीक है आत्मविश्वास का, ये प्रतीक है आत्मनिर्भरता का, ये प्रतीक है आत्मगौरव का।
Mr. Modi said, in the journey of the pledge to make the best medical care available to each and every citizen of the country, the government has taken another major step with the inauguration of the new campus of the Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute in Kolkata. The Prime Minister said this campus will go a long way in providing affordable and state-of-the-art care to the people of West Bengal, especially poor and middle-class families. Mr. Modi also spoke on the fear of the financial distress caused due to cancer. To get the poor out of the vicious circle that the disease causes, the country is taking continuous steps for cheap and accessible treatment.
पश्चिम बंगाल सहित पूरे देश में जो 8,000 से ज्यादा जन औषधि केंद्र स्थापित किए गए हैं, उनमें बहुत सस्ते दाम पर दवाइयां और सर्जिकल सामान दिए जा रहे हैं। इन स्टोर्स पर कैंसर की भी 50 से अधिक दवाइयां बहुत कम कीमत पर उपलब्ध है। कैंसर की सस्ती दवाओं को उपलब्ध कराने के लिए विशेष अमृत स्टोर भी देश भर में चल रहे हैं। सरकार का यही सेवा भाव, यही संवेदनशीलता गरीबों को सस्ता इलाज सुनिश्चित करने में मदद कर रहा है।
The Prime Minister said today that the Ayushman Bharat scheme is becoming a global benchmark in terms of affordable and inclusive healthcare. Under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, more than 2 crore 60 lakh patients have received free treatment in hospitals across the country.
आयुष्मान भारत योजना एफोर्डेबल और इंक्लूसिव हेल्थ केयर के मामले में एक ग्लोबल बेंचमार्क बन रही है। पीएम जय के तहत देश भर में 2 करोड़ 60 लाख से ज्यादा मरीज अस्पतालों में अपना मुफ्त इलाज करा चुके हैं।
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and Union Ministers Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, Shantanu Thakur, John Barla and Nishit Pramanik were among those present on the occasion. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has said that the country has crossed the historic figure of administering 150 crore corona vaccines under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the relentless hard work of health workers. In a tweet, Dr. Mandavia said, when everyone makes an effort together, they can achieve any goal. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla also congratulated the nation on 150 crore COVID vaccinations.
Vaccination of children in the age group of 15 to 18 years has started in Kulgari district of Maharashtra from 3rd of January. So far, 39,579 teens have taken the first dose of the vaccine. Vaccination of children above 15 years of age is currently underway at 25 centers in the district. Our AIR correspondent spoke to one of the children vaccinated recently.
मेरा नाम प्रियांशु मौर्य है और मैं हॉली स्पिरिट स्कूल में पढ़ता हूँ। मैं 11th स्टैंडर्ड का स्टूडेंट हूँ और हमें तो वैक्सीन लगाने की जरूरत बहुत है क्योंकि आप जानते हैं कि हमारे अभी एग्जाम्स भी आने वाले हैं। तो मैंने वैक्सीन लगा ली है तो मुझे ऐसा अंदर से फीलिंग हो रही है बहुत अच्छा हो गया मेरे लिए भी वैक्सीन लगाना। तो इसी वजह से आप भी वैक्सीन लगाइए तो सब सुरक्षित रहेंगे, देश सुरक्षित रहेगा।
The union government has said that a total of 3,007 cases of Omicron variant of COVID-19 have been reported so far in the country. Out of these total cases, 1,199 patients have already recovered. The country reported over 1,17,000 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. The national recovery rate stands at 97.57%.
The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has issued guidelines for the international passengers. The standard operating procedure will come into effect from the 11th of this month. Under the revised guidelines, travellers coming from other countries are required to undergo 7 days of home quarantine and shall undertake the RT-PCR test on the 8th day of arrival in India. Travellers will be required to upload results of the RT-PCR test on the Air Suvidha portal. The revised guidelines state that all travellers planning travel need to submit information in a self-declaration format on the online Air Suvidha portal before the scheduled travel. The traveller needs to upload a negative COVID-19 RT-PCR report to be conducted 72 hours prior to undertaking the journey. The Centre has reviewed the preparedness status of the entire spectrum of oxygen infrastructure, including PSA plants, oxygen concentrators and cylinders, and ventilators with states and union territories. The Union Health Secretary chaired a high-level meeting in this regard for timely and effective management of the COVID-19 pandemic through a video conference. Highlighting the challenge posed by the increasing number of COVID cases across the country, with a focus on Omicron, the Health Secretary emphasized that it is the primary and critical responsibility of states and union territories to ensure that all oxygen equipment till the field level at all health facilities is tested and kept in a functional state to meet any emergent situation.
A weekend curfew will be in force in Delhi from 10 p.m. tonight and will continue till 5 a.m. on Monday amid the spike in COVID-19 cases. During the weekend curfew, there will be restrictions on the movement of individuals. However, people who come under the exempted categories will be allowed to move. The officials who are involved in essential and emergency services will be allowed on production of valid identity cards. The Delhi Metro Rail train services will be available at a frequency of 15 minutes on the yellow line and blue line. However, on the other lines, metro trains will be available at a frequency of 20 minutes during the weekend curfew. As per the Delhi Disaster Management Authority's order, metro trains and buses can run with 100% of seating capacity. The Assam government has imposed new restrictions to curb the spread of COVID-19. Talking to news persons in Guwahati, Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sarma said curfew will be imposed in the state from 10 p.m. now to 6 a.m. from tomorrow. He also said that business and commercial establishments would not function after 9 p.m. He said that all inter-district passenger transport and movement shall be allowed with fully vaccinated passengers. The Chief Minister said non-vaccinated people would not be allowed in public places from 15th of this month.
The outpatient department OPD services at AIIMS Hospital in Delhi and all centres will continue to function with restricted registrations, limited only to prior appointment patients. In its order, the AIIMS authority said all specialty clinics will be stopped for the time being. The Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU, has postponed its December 2021 term-end examinations scheduled to be held from the 20th of this month to the 23rd of next month till further orders. The IGNOU administration said that the university has taken this decision in view of the outburst and infectious growth of the new variant of coronavirus, Omicron, and the weekend curfews in various parts of the country.
The centre has established help desks and control rooms to ensure that supplies of delivery goods and essential commodities continue without any restrictions during COVID times. The phone numbers are 011-2306-3554 and 2306-0625. The Commerce and Industry Ministry said these telephone numbers will remain functional from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The Department of Commerce and Directorate General of Foreign Trade, DGFT, have also undertaken monitoring of the status of export and import and difficulties being faced by the trade stakeholders in view of the surge of COVID-19 cases. You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Country crosses landmark of administering 150 crore COVID vaccine doses. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds historic milestone. Second campus of Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute inaugurated by Prime Minister in Kolkata. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviews performance of public sector banks and their readiness to tackle Omicron-induced disruptions. Government makes 7-day home quarantine mandatory for all international arrivals in the country. Centre establishes help desks and control rooms to ensure delivery of goods and essential commodities. Supreme Court orders securing of travel records related to Prime Minister's recent visit to Punjab. FIR registered by Punjab Police against unidentified persons. Apex Court allows commencement of postgraduate medical counselling for current academic year under existing reservation criteria. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh flags in India's first multi-dimensional adventure sports expedition conducted in France. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
से पहले जो लड़के हैं गलती हो जाती है बोलकर छूट जाते थे। 2017 के बाद उन अपराधियों पर होती है कार्यवाही। 2017 से पहले भैंस ढूंढने वाली पुलिस 2017 के बाद अपराधियों को काबू करती है। फर्क साफ है।
जब भाइयों बहनों सरकार की नीयत साफ होती है, सोच ईमानदार होती है, तो काम भी दमदार होता है।
पिछले 4.5 सालों में उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार की ईमानदार सोच और दमदार काम से यूपी बन रहा है नंबर 1। यूपी में विकास होता रहेगा लगातार। सोच ईमानदार, काम दमदार।
Welcome back to the evening news. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviewed the performance of public sector banks, PSBs, with their chairmen and managing directors through virtual mode in New Delhi today. During the review meeting, Ms. Sitharaman assessed various steps taken by PSBs in implementing pandemic-related measures as well as their readiness to tackle possible future disruptions that may occur due to the ongoing variant of the COVID-19 pandemic. While appreciating the emergency credit line guarantee scheme, Ms. Chittaranjan also conveyed to the bankers to continue supporting the agriculture sector, farmers, retail sector and MSMEs. India's gross domestic product, GDP, is estimated to rise 9.2% in the current fiscal as compared to a contraction of 7.3% in the financial year 2020-21. This was stated by the Statistics and Program Implementation Ministry in its first advance estimates of national income for the financial year 2021-22.
The Supreme Court today directed the Registrar General of Punjab and Haryana High Court to secure and preserve travel records of Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit to Punjab forthwith. The court has also directed Punjab and police authorities, Special Protection Group SPG and other central and state agencies to cooperate and provide necessary assistance to seal the entire record. The Apex Court was hearing a petition seeking a thorough probe into the security lapse during Prime Minister's visit to Punjab's Firozpur district on Wednesday. The Supreme Court will continue hearing the case on Monday. The Punjab police have registered a case against unidentified persons in Kulgari police station for blocking the Firozpur Mogar national highway leading to the security breach during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Punjab visit. Kulgari station house officer Birbal Singh said that an FIR was registered against more than 100 people. Earlier, the committee constituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs to probe the lapses reached Firozpur today and visited the flyover where the Prime Minister was stopped and took stock of the situation. The team has summoned Punjab DGP Siddharth Chattopadhyay and 13 officers for questioning. According to sources, the probe committee has issued a show cause notice to Firozpur SSP and sought his reply in a day.
Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju today said that clean elections are a priority of the central government and the government is in continuous talks with the Election Commission in this regard. Mr. Rijiju was speaking at a session of the DD Conclave in Lucknow. The Law Minister said that the opposition is spreading a false narrative about the linking of the Aadhaar card with the voter card and said that it is a blatant lie that there will be profiling of voters after this initiative. In the session named as Bhay Mukt Uttar Pradesh, Bulldozer Ka Kitna Dar, Mr. Kiren Rijiju said that law-abiding citizens are happy with the Yogi government in Uttar Pradesh and only criminal and anti-social elements are fearful of the bulldozer of the government. The Election Commission has completed a review of the poll preparedness for the upcoming assembly elections in 5 states including Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, where the process of elections is going to begin in a few days. The Commission has also had a separate meeting with the Union Health Secretary for an update on the COVID situation as well as vaccination status in poll-bound states. During the Commission's meeting with the Health Secretary, which was also attended by the AIIMS Director and ICMR Chief, a complete review was done on the current COVID infection status and the inputs of the medical experts were taken on the safety measures to be ensured during the election process. The Election Commission also met the Home Secretary to discuss the law and order situation in the poll-bound states and deployment of central paramilitary forces.
The Apex Court today cleared the deck for postgraduate medical counselling and admissions, including the other backward classes OBC and economically weaker sections EWS reservations for the current academic year 2021-22. A bench headed by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud and A.S. Bopanna upheld the constitutional validity of 27% reservation for OBC and 10% EWS for the NEET UG and NEET PG. However, the top court added that it would decide on the rationale of the criteria of 8 lakh rupees income for the EWS category in March this year. Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court to allow the commencement of NEET PG counselling for 2021-22. He expressed his gratitude for the efforts of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to ensure social justice.
Union Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh today emphasized that e-governance initiatives should be citizen-centric and increase transparency and accountability. Addressing the 24th National Conference on E-Governance in Hyderabad this morning, the minister stressed the need for right and optimum use of e-governance initiatives, especially in the post-COVID era.
Now that we have also started the Good Governance Index and Telangana's Janhit platform has been recognized as among the best functional redressal platforms, I think there is much also to learn from each other. The digital governance, which happens to be the theme of today's conference, I think came out in its best during the COVID times. Is a city of Hyderabad, which is possible one of the most illustrious examples of tradition blended with modernity.
Speaking to AIR News, Secretary Administrative Reforms V. Srinivas said that Hyderabad's declaration to take administrative reforms and IT initiatives to the next level.
The objective is to take the nation forward in terms of transforming India's institutions into digitally, technologically empowered institutions, e-office to be taken forward, public grievance redressal system, secretariat reforms, improving service delivery, each of these to be taken forward.
Nepal's embassy to India congratulated All India Radio for doubling the broadcasting time in Nepali. In a tweet, the embassy also congratulated AIR, launching a special program on Nepal and extended its best wishes. All India Radio, from starting Monday, doubled its broadcast from 6 languages, namely Nepali, Mandarin, Tibetan, Dari, Pashto and Baluchi. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
हिंदियों में बू रहेगी जब तलक ईमान की, तख्ते लंदन पर चलेगी तेग हिंदुस्तान की।
This immortal verse of the last Mogar emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was the opening of the programs of Azad Hind Radio. After setting up a Free India Center in Berlin, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose started Azad Hind Radio as part of Germany's radio service, which first aired on the 7th of January 1942.
The programs were meant to show solidarity with Indians living abroad, as well as those living in the subcontinent. They included news bulletins transmitted in English, Gujarati, Marathi, Bengali, Pashto, Tamil, Persian and Telugu.
हमने जो आजादी की लड़ाई छेड़ रखी है, उसे तब तक जारी रखना होगा जब तक हमें मुकम्मल आजादी हासिल न हो। आप संगठित शक्ति से शांति और अहिंसा पूर्वक आत्म बलिदान करने के लिए जल्द से जल्द तैयार हो जाइए। न मालूम कब बिगुल बज उठे। असंगठित और कमजोर रहना पाप है। गुलामी सब कष्टों और पापों की जड़ है। अब गुलामी की जंजीरों को तोड़ने के लिए एक दिल, एक प्राण होकर कटिबद्ध हो जाइए। हिंदुस्तान अब गुलाम नहीं रह सकता और न कोई ताकत इसे गुलाम रखी सकती है। हाँ, हमें स्वतंत्रता का मूल्य चुकाना होगा। आप इसके लिए तैयार हो जाइए, जिससे यदि हम गुलाम हिंदुस्तान में पैदा हुए हैं तो स्वतंत्र हिंदुस्तान में जीवे और मरे, तभी आजाद हिंदुस्तान दुनिया को नए नए संदेश दे सकेगा.
Initially based in Germany, its headquarters were shifted to Singapore. Broadcasting from Berlin, both celebrated the wave of Japanese victories over British territories and passionately spoke about India's Quit India movement.
Azad Hind Radio aimed to counter the broadcasts of radio from allied nations during World War II.
The 7th of January is also the birth anniversary of freedom fighter and social reformer Gyananjan Niyogi. Born in 1891, Gyananjan was strongly influenced by Brahmo ideals and he tried to implement them in life. He was attracted towards the freedom movement when Bengal was partitioned in 1905.
In 1909, Gyananjan Niyogi formed the Calcutta Working Men's Institution. Apart from its educational and training activities, it organized medical assistance and carried out development work for the benefit of the poor residents living in slums. He extensively toured the rural areas of Bengal and started using the magic lantern for spreading consciousness amongst the poor and the uneducated sections of society.
In order to promote the use of indigenous materials, he used to organize the Swadeshi Mela. When Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the mayor of Calcutta from 1930 to 31, he requested Niyogi to organize the Swadeshi campaign.
After independence, when refugees came from East Pakistan, Gyananjan Niyogi put his heart and soul into rehabilitation work. The noble soul breathed his last on the 13th of February 1956.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all our consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today flagged in India's first multi-dimensional adventure sports expedition conducted by National Institute of Mountaineering and Allied Sports in France. The expedition was conducted in November last year and the team comprising 12 people, 8 army personnel and 4 youths from Arunachal Pradesh. The expedition was organized as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
And now let's take a quick look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the weatherman today issued a red alert for heavy to very heavy rains and snow across Jammu and Kashmir. The national capital Delhi will have thunderstorms with rain. Leh is likely to have light snow. Gilgit will have rain or snow. Isolated heavy rainfall is also likely over Punjab, Haryana and northwest Uttar Pradesh. Several parts of Madhya Pradesh, including its capital Bhopal, also experienced unseasonal rains. Guwahati and Aizawl will have moderate fog. And now before we close, the headlines once again. Country crosses landmark of administering 150 crore COVID vaccine doses. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds historic milestone. Second campus of Chittaranjan National Cancer Institute inaugurated by Prime Minister in Kolkata. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reviews performance of public sector banks and their readiness to tackle Omicron-induced disruptions. Government makes 7-day home quarantine mandatory for all international arrivals into the country. Centre establishes help desks and control rooms to ensure delivery of goods and essential commodities. Supreme Court orders securing of travel records related to Prime Minister's recent visit to Punjab. FIR registered by Punjab Police against unidentified persons. Apex Court allows commencement of postgraduate medical counselling for current academic year under existing reservation criteria. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh flags in India's first multi-dimensional adventure sports expedition conducted in France. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.